Welcome to 10 Minutes. I'm Tony Scott. Since the final game of the U State Tournament 2 weeks ago, there hasn't been a lot of hockey to see, but that doesn't mean there isn't a lot to report. Last weekend, YHH staffer Peter Odney boarded a plane and followed the top 11 Minnesota players to Detroit as they auditioned for the National Development U17 team. Of the 11, 7 were invited, 4 will be announced next week as accepting, 3 declined, and 4 were cut. YHH will not release those names out of respect for the families and USA Hockey as they pursue the best 20 players available. We do know that they will likely choose 22 players for the program this year, and they will announce those kids' names on either April 6th or 7th. One of Peter's takeaways from the tryout was how skilled the Minnesota players looked. Even the players cut looked like they fit the part. Peter added that none of the 11 ever looked out of place. The 7 players not going to Ann Arbor next year are automatically selected to the Summer National Camp this summer and do not have to try out as part of the High Performance Local Program or Festival. We also expect a few of those players not selected to be tendered by USHL teams for next fall. We assume those tenders won't be announced until after the U17 team is announced next week. This weekend, the Tier 1 14 and 16U national tournaments will be held out west. The 16s will be in San Jose and the 14s teed up in Alaska. Our 16 choice to win it all is Team Wisconsin. We wrote about and published that story Monday. Our 14 choice is not exactly a tough one. We will pick Shattuck St. Mary's. They've been number 1 all year for a reason. Our preview on the 14s will be out soon. Check out the story to see who we think they'll face in the quarters, semis, and finals. Also this weekend, we will be in St. Cloud to see the Minnesota Selects, a really fun all-star tourney for kids from all over the state, birth years 2002 to 2006. We can't wait to see some good hockey after a couple weeks off. The hot topic this last week has been the resignation of Trent Klatt in Grand Rapids. When I was in high school, there was an unwritten athletic code. If you crossed the line, be prepared to deal with it. It was pretty easy for most of my athletic friends. If we chose to socialize, we did it only with those that we trusted, mostly because my friends and I weren't prepared to deal with it. The authorities at school were the least of my worries. My 2 biggest fears were not playing and my parents. Missing sports was my number 1 fear. Sports were like air or water to me. Playing hockey or golf at a high level is all I thought about. High school sports for a skinny kid like me was likely my pinnacle. Missing a couple weeks in some of those high school sports is sometimes the whole season. The other fear for me was my parents. My parents were my biggest fan, but when I messed up, their wrath was worse than any school administrator or police officer. I'm not talking physical fear, I'm talking guilt fear. Last week, Grand Rapids lost a great hockey coach in Trent Klatt. In his first year, he led the Thunderhawks to the state tournament for the first time since 2007. Trent's a great person. He's a devoted husband and father and will be forever remembered by his team as not only a great coach, but a great mentor. I was at his press conference on Friday night of the state tournament after his team fell to Eden Prairie in the semifinals. Klatt looked like he just lost a loved one. He was truly saddened by the loss and cared deeply for his team, coaches, and the Grand Rapids community. No words were necessary. You could read it all over his face. This reporter left the X that night thinking Grand Rapids had the coach of a lifetime. 3 weeks later, he resigned amid all kinds of allegations, none of which question his character or his ability to coach a hockey team. Many believe sophomore star Blake McLaughlin's state tourney suspension was alcohol-related, and now new allegations that 19 of the team's 22 students confessed to Grand Rapids athletic director Ann Campbell to drinking after their loss against Eden Prairie on Friday night at the state tournament in St. Paul. To top it off, Klatt reportedly gave McLaughlin his third-place rank on Saturday on the ice after Rapids beat Stillwater to take third. If these allegations are true, it makes sense why he resigned from a job that he said he'd never quit. Seniors caught will miss most or all of their senior season of spring sports, while sophomores and juniors will serve suspensions in the spring and fall and never miss a practice of hockey next winter. It will be the equivalent of a 2-minute minor. The sad reality is the tenure of Klatt in Grand Rapids is over. Future players for the Halloween Machine are now robbed of the benefit of being coached by a former Minnesota great who bleeds our Minnesota model. When you peel back the onion a little, here's where things went wrong. The players were under the watch of the coach. Giving a medal to a suspended player is a very honorable thing to do. I respect Trent for doing it, but doing it on the ice is something that flaunts the system and the rules. If you look closer at the team, the leaders of the team know the on-ice and off-ice rules. It is their job as captains to hold the players to them. And lastly, one that I think gets overlooked, the parents. These days, kids in trouble, and we as parents fight to protect our kids, even when they are guilty or potential A potential lesson could be learned. We shelter our kids from the law and learning right from wrong. I'm the parent of 3 and find myself caught in the protect the kids trap all the time. So I think I get it. At some point, parents know if Johnny's doing right or wrong after hours or not. In this case, I have a funny feeling deep down they knew what was happening that night and likely looked the other way, and that is part of the reason Trent resigned. Hopefully, what happened in Grand Rapids can be a lesson to the 150 coaches in Minnesota high school hockey, the thousands of players that play, and the 1,000 more parents who have kids that play. We have a great tradition of high school hockey excellence in Minnesota. Last week, it took a hard punch in the mouth. Best of luck to Trent in the future. We hope the best for you and your family. And best of luck to the next coach at Grand Rapids. Finally, best of luck to all the players on the team. Nothing can erase the memory of watching Alex Adams score that goal at Amsoil. Regardless of what transpired, your team this year was a blast to watch. Tommy Chicago's Trivia. Today's Tommy Chicago's Trivia is a fun one. With all of this talk of the National Development Program, thought I'd do a brain buster with a certain Minnesota player who played in Ann Arbor before going on to win a national championship and a Hobie Baker Award. If you can name the golden child from Golden Valley, send us an email to youthhockeyhub@gmail.com. Official invites for our AAA state tourney go out this week. We expect a great showing of teams in our first year. The event will be held August 19th through 21st at Bloomington Ice Garden. The event will pit the top AAA teams from around the state in one tournament. We have some great things in store for our in-game experience. Our Pick of the Year contest was a wild success. We posted 20 of our best pictures, and the player photographed with the most likes on Twitter were receiving a large print as a gift from YHH. Finally, the Game Puck. This week's Lots of Matza Game Puck goes out to all the 2001 Minnesota players who will begin their quest toward a spot on the U17 National Development Team. That process starts soon. Just remember, this year is just a snapshot of where you are today. Your career is far from over if you don't hit the level that you choose in this process. Casey Middlestat was not selected for the festival when he was 15. He's headed to the U to play hockey. Micah Miller has never been selected to a national camp in New York. He's headed to St. Cloud. And Clayton Phillips was cut from going to New York when he was 15, and a year later was choosing between Minnesota, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. So the Game Puck goes out to the kids who get cut and make the most of it. Look forward to seeing you around the rink. Have a nice day.